So the Premier League is in full swing right now, but we decided to use the power of the new Football Manager 2026 game and see what they predict the Premier League will finish like this campaign. So we simulated a full season, the full 25-26 Premier League season, to see who won the title, who won the FA Cup, who won the League Cup, who qualified for Europe, who fell through the floor and got relegated to the Championship, as well as looking across the EFL 92, see who got promoted up and down the leagues. We'll also take a look at the Bundesliga, La Liga, and Serie A as well. And of course, check out how the teams did in Europe. We'll see who won the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Europa Conference League. So all that is coming up right now. Please let me know in the comments if you are surprised by these findings. Please also like and subscribe to the channel. Here it is. So I am pretty excited here to see what the Premier League looks like after one season. So let's have a look and load it up. So we've got Liverpool winning the league, 29 wins, just one defeat. Well, they're worse than that in real life. They've certainly lost more than one game. 95 points overall. So Liverpool winning back-to-back games and also lost their second last game of the season. So nearly an invincible. Yeah, in second place and not really that close. Liverpool, Man City. We've got Arsenal in third. Spurs and Man United fourth and fifth, which is interesting because both finished right towards the bottom of the Premier League last season. We've got Newcastle in sixth. Chelsea, the world champions, in seventh place. And as we keep going down, Villa down there in ninth. Everton 12th. West Ham 13th. I'm sure they'd take that right now in real life. We've got Brentford in 14th place, and then the bottom three, Burnley, Wolves, and Sunderland, which is interesting. I mean, Sunderland have got 4 wins in real life, so the game projected them picking up just another 4 from then to the end of the season. Wolves 8 wins, Burnley just 5 wins, and I don't think many people would necessarily argue with that bottom 2. I think most people probably have Sunderland out there right now. It's got Leeds just about keeping their heads above water. But yes, an interesting Premier League table. Not many surprises in there. I think that kind of follows what you'd sort of predict. Liverpool as champions, though, and they've got a lot of work to do that in real life. But let's have a look to see what happened in the Champions League. So the Champions League was won by Manchester City. They won the final 3-2 against Real Madrid. If we go back through, let's have a look. So Man City beat PSG, Real Madrid beat Barcelona in the semi-finals. And if we keep going back through, Arsenal and Newcastle knocked out in the quarterfinals. Also had Chelsea knocked out by Real Madrid as well. So yeah, pretty interesting Champions League run there. I'm sure Newcastle fans would be pretty happy to get this far in the Champions League this season. Let's have a look, though, at some of the other competitions, particularly in Europe. So if we are to look and click on Aston Villa and find out who won the Europa League, it certainly wasn't them. So it was Benfica defeating FC Porto in the final. Not a final you'd necessarily expect to see. And no British teams in the semi-final, and in the quarterfinals, no British teams either. Malmo, though, making a really big run there, and Slovan Bratislava. So I wonder at what point Aston Villa, they got knocked out in the round of 16 by Lyon, which is pretty interesting. Nottingham Forest went out against Lille. So no success there in the Europa League for the English teams. We'll go on Crystal Palace and have a look to see if they won the Conference League, which they did not. It was won by AZ, an all Dutch final. So the Europa League was an all Portuguese. This was an all Dutch final. How far did Crystal Palace get? So it looks like Crystal Palace didn't actually make it into the UEFA Conference League after searching there for a while. So let's have a look now at the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We'll start with the FA Cup, which was won by Newcastle. They beat Man City 2-1 in the final. So I'm saying Newcastle fans would be very, very pleased with that. They've won 2 trophies in 2 years, if that's the case. Carabao Cup final was won by Liverpool. They defeated Brighton 4-1, which, yeah, I'm sure Brighton fans would be happy reaching a cup final. I'm not sure how many they've reached, but they've never reached any in the last sort of 25 years. Certainly in my life, they have not. And let's just finish off the Premier League by looking at some of the key statistics for the season. So if we go on to team stats to begin with, average possessions, not all that interesting, but there we are, Liverpool winning that one. We'll look at some of the attacking stats in here. Liverpool scoring the most goals, expected goals, overperformance there, expected goals, underperformance. Sunderland underperforming their XG by 19.54 apparently, although it's not showing up in this table. And expected goals for, Sunderland would have been 12, so they have massively underperformed. They went to score 27, so that's a significant underperformance for them. In terms of defensive numbers, teams that have conceded the most goals this season, Liverpool conceded just 22. It's how they win the league. Leeds conceded the most with 60, which actually isn't a high amount. Let's now look at the player stats. I'm sure, we can see there Erling Haaland, top goal scorer. No surprise there. We'll get some of the attacking stats. But Erling Haaland, top goal scorer. Salah, Isaac, who has obviously struggled in real life. Saka as well in there. So no real surprises at the top of this list. I'm trying to see if there's anyone. There's nobody particularly shocking in this list for top scorers. And in terms of assists, Martin Odegaard with 19. That's a high number there. 19 assists. Wow. Bruno Fernandes, we've got there with 14. Florian Wirtz, who struggled in real life. Adam Wharton, 12 in there, which is pretty impressive as well. And let's just quickly have a look at what was happening at the other top leagues in Europe. So if we look at Germany, Bayern Munich win the Bundesliga, so no great surprises there. Hamburg, Mainz and Cologne go down. So there we are, that's Germany. Let's now check out Spain. So La Liga, Real Madrid, 102 points, impressive. Barcelona in second, going down Levante, Girona and Alaves, so nothing particularly exciting there. But Real Madrid finishing with 102 points. And in terms of the title, it is Napoli winning it ahead of Juventus. But the game has a playoff, I believe. So, that's interesting. So that means that Napoli and Juventus had to play a playoff, presumably because they had the same head-to-head records. I'm guessing that must have been. So, if we look here, there is a stage here. There is a playoff between the two of these, which is very, very interesting. One on penalties, 0-0. So let's now look at the championship. It has Ipswich, West Brom, and Coventry City earning promotion. In terms of relegation, Sheffield Wednesday putting up a really good fight. Charlton also going down, and Portsmouth. But I think in real life, you probably would have Sheffield Wednesday, obviously with all we've seen with them down. But Charlton, Portsmouth, I think you would have staying up quite comfortably. Millwall and Stoke down there as well. And they've obviously had really good starts to the season. But parachute payment teams largely doing pretty well at the top here. But we do see two non-parachute payment teams promoted. Let's quickly look at League One. We've got Luton, Bolton, and Leyton Orient going up. Exeter, Port Vale, AFC Wimbledon, and Northampton going down. And just to tie this off in a nice bow to finish off the Football League pyramid, Swindon, Cambridge, and MK Dons of Colchester also in the playoffs, and Gillingham and Barnet going down. Shall we take a final glance and just take a look at, because obviously the women's football is now in this game. So we're going to quickly look at the WSL, which was won by Chelsea. West Ham get relegated. So there we are. There's what we have for the WSL. Chelsea with an undefeated season, 21 wins and just one draw. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more Football Manager simulations, please like and subscribe. We'll catch you for another video very soon.